In Focus tonight, we are one step closer to having medical marijuana right here in our state. Regulations were finalized and posted earlier this month, and now the commission is set to take on applicants. In Focus investigator Amy Aubert takes a look at where the process stands and what the commission calls a real tremendous interest.
Well, Kelly, the applications for licenses to run a dispensary or to be a grower or processor have officially been posted. It's a huge step for the Maryland Medical Cannabis Commission, but regulating medical marijuana and figuring out who exactly will bring it to our state takes time. Tucked away in western Maryland sits the small town of Cumberland. Here, the typical bustle of midday traffic fills the otherwise quiet community. Quiet and noticeably vacant. For sale signs decorate windows of what were once downtown storefronts.
There's a lot of neat stuff here. It's amazing.
Casey Callister says that could soon change.
You have a division here. You can keep this door shut till everybody's checked out. Yeah.
And then would you be interested in selling the whole building?
It's in this community and farmlands beyond that he's hoping to open a dispensary and grow medical marijuana.
I think that if we could give more than our fair share of these farms and dispensaries and this processing anyway to Western Maryland, really could spark the economy here.
The Air Force veteran already purchased property in Allegheny County where he's hoping to grow the medicine, a process that for Callister has been more than 9 months in the making. A process that's led him here.
Yes, we'd have to install a vault as well, yeah.
Searching for the perfect downtown building with potential for a dispensary.
So this would be the entrance to the dispensary?
Tara Blaze, a close friend and fellow dispensary applicant, came along to check out the buildings. She's hoping to open a location of her own in the Tacoma Park area.
When a mom will come in to me and tell me that their kid's not having seizures anymore, it'll be a tremendous moment for me.
Blaze and Callister aren't alone. Allegheny County commissioners say Callister's is one of roughly 8 companies that have expressed interest in growing medical marijuana in their area, well before any applications to do so were made available.
There is interest all across the state, Western Maryland, Eastern Shore, and everywhere in between.
Hannah Byron is the executive director of the Maryland Medical Cannabis Commission, a branch of the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. She says her office has heard from 20 to 30 companies so far.
We certainly know that there has been a lot of interest all across the state, so we see a very robust application period.
Her staff devoted the past 18 months to creating regulations that became effective in September.
We think that we have, and we've been told that we have a real model across the country.
They use the statutes passed by the General Assembly as their roadmap, calling the regulations complex with strict criteria for security, quality assurance, and testing.
We have representatives from law enforcement, from horticulture, from patient advocacy, addiction specialists, and physicians, and so all of this expertise has gone into writing the regulations.
The regulations are calling for things like testing for potency, purity, and microbiology, and having independent samplings. They also require growers to have an alarm and surveillance systems for all structures, background inspections, and documenting the entire process.
We get calls and emails regularly from patients asking us when it will be available for themselves or their loved ones, because there's so many conditions that really benefit from the use of medical cannabis.
For Callister, the message hits close to home.
It's rather personal for me. You know, my dad has stage 4 bone cancer.
He says plans to open his own farm and dispensary could drastically change the treatments for his father.
You know, he's been poked and prodded for so many years that, you know, who knows whether he will actually end up using this. But I've been trying to convince him because I think it'll make the rest of his years better.
And while Callister has already reached out to county officials, Byron says it's still a long road ahead. They're aiming to award up to 15 growers licenses by mid-December to mid-January. Then the operations need to get finalized, checking on zoning regulations and any work that needs to be completed at cultivation centers and dispensaries. A long road that Callister hopes leads from his farm to dispensary.
I cannot wait for that day that I can bring my dad into the facility and give him the medicine.
The Maryland Medical Cannabis Commission will award up to 15 growers licenses and 2 dispensary licenses per senatorial district. They'll be required to renew those licenses every 2 years for the first 2, then every 4 years after that. I spoke to Bill Valentine, who's the president of the Allegheny County Board of Commissioners. He says their team is supportive of medical marijuana, hoping it gets opiates off the streets. He says they've heard from 8 companies who are looking to grow medical cannabis and 2 who want to open dispensaries. He mentioned the companies will have to make sure they're within the correct zoning regulations. He did say he's a bit weary of outdoor growing, citing security concerns, saying some remote parts of the county could take law enforcement about 20 minutes to get there. Besides bringing some new jobs to the area, he doesn't think that bringing medical cannabis farms or even the dispensaries will make a big impact on downtown businesses. The deadline to submit an application for a license is November 6th.